Shalom. I'd like to start off first and foremost by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace, love, salutations, and blessings to those that are doing this work in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Nathan Yala from the GMS Camp Atlanta, coming back at you through the Spirit with another lesson. And I pray and hope this lesson is edifying. Now, Salakia. I came across this video on TikTok, and it poses a lot of questions, about the current rulership that we're in right now, the rulership of the Edomites. And one may beg the question, how does the lowest of the low, the biggest coward, the biggest liar, the biggest deceiver, the biggest murderer, all right, the biggest defrauder, all right, how does one such as he get into power and the people don't realize it? Okay, well, it's the Most High that does that. Now I have a video that I'm gonna play, because we have to understand that there's no fucking way, and excuse my French, but there's no way that a man as base as Esau can become ruler of anything unless somebody puts him in that position. Okay, there's no way. So we live in a society where everything is confused and everything is ass backwards. There's no real structure or standard for anything unless it's wickedness, right? But honor, morality, and morality and honor and integrity and dignity, all those things are of the Lord. And Esau ain't got none of those, okay? And as a matter of fact, we're gonna go back to this, but let's go to Habakkuk first, all right? Because he was not made in a right position. He wasn't put into a upright position. All right. This is Habakkuk 2, and I'm going to start at verse 3. And it says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie." And this is now it goes into speaking about Esau, because this is talking about Esau's rulership. Okay? All of the prophecies that are come to pass through Esau's rulership, these are the things that are speaking right now. All right. So in order for these prophecies to happen, in order for these prophecies to come to pass, Esau had to be put in power. He had to have been put in power. Right. So who's the only one that has the authority and power to put a creature that's so base, that's so vile, in a position of authority to rule over the earth? The earth is in the worst condition that it's ever been in its creation, and yet the one that's ruling it still maintains rulership. The one that's casting this place down, that's destroying the earth, he still remains in rulership. How? Okay? So it says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but in the end it shall speak, and it shall not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." All right. And that goes back into him being the basest man, because he was not put, he does not have the spirit of uprightness. Okay. So he cannot do, he cannot be honest. He cannot tell the truth. Okay. He can't, these are things that are not characteristics of the wicked. Okay, they have to do mischief because they don't have an upright soul in them. They weren't made to be that way. They're vessels fitted onto dishonor and wrath. Okay, so then the question will pose, how does a man that is the basis of all men get into power? Well, let's go back to it. Let's go to the book of Daniel. As a matter of fact, before we play that, we read that Daniel, let's play this video.
Humans and animals is that animal. The difference between humans and animals is that animals never let a fool lead the pack. And that may be the greatest shame of our species, because we are the only form of life capable of handing power to the worst among us, not by accident, but by applause, to the loudest, the most arrogant, and the most empty. No wolf follows weakness, no lion obeys a coward, yet humans defend, excuse, and even worship those who should never be followed. When intelligence falls silent, stupidity does not hesitate. It steps forward, takes the throne, and rules with absolute confidence. Animals Animals follow instinct. We follow appearances. They follow strength, while we follow noise, mistaking volume for insight and aggression for authority. And the outcome is always the same. A society led by fools, and a population shocked by its own decline, still cheering the very voices that led them there.
If you agree with these rules...
All right, now you hear it. Now you notice all of the images that they have shown were Edomites, because these are the people that are in rulership, and this is a world that's following these wicked ass people, these stupid, empty ass people. I mean, I was watching a TikTok the other day, and there was a video where there was a guy that was going around murdering women. And then what he would do is he would cut their body parts up and tenderize them with a mallet, and then ship them to a wealthy man, you know, in a vacuum sealed bag with pieces of their clothing and stuff like that. And the wealthy man will have a chef cook the meat, and they will eat it. Now my question is what person in their right mind would actually do some shit like that? Like, that's something that you can actually put on film. You murdered somebody and you ate them. Well, that's cannibalism in this particular day and age is definitely Edomite trait more so than anybody else. This dude think it's cool to put, you know, human genetic material into the food that we eat. I mean, it's if you don't know about Soylent Green, you should definitely check it out. Okay? Because the food here is toxic and poisonous. And there's no way that there's enough beef to make all these damn burgers, you know? So there's a lot of additives that are added. What these additives are, there's been studies on that. And it's been found that a lot of these additives are human in DNA. Now, going back to what I was just saying before about the movie, it was a TikTok, but it was actually a clip from a movie. Who in their right mind would imagine something like that? Like, how is that even something that you can imagine? Well, the wicked would. Okay, the wicked would. All right, so now let's go back to this Daniel, book of Daniel, chapter 4, verse 17, and it says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and give it to whosoever he will, and set up over it the bases of men. All right, so there we have it there. The Most High is the one that sets up these kingdoms and put the bases of men there, because there's no other way that Esau could have actually got put into a position of authority in the manner in which he has it, unless it was the Most High who did it. So that's how you get the biggest loser to be in a position of authority, to be in a position of power, the biggest loser, which is Esau Edom. This is how you're able to do it, okay? Because Esau Edom was put in that position by the Lord for the purpose of what? Bringing forth prophecy, okay? Because what does the scripture say? I'll get it real quick. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So in order for Jacob to be put in a position to where he has his world, Esau's world had to come into fruition. And all of these evil things that we're experiencing on this side had to take place. Okay? So that's why. All right? So we have to live through this so the Most High can bring forth the grand kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai that's going to, you know, through the brightness of his coming and through these thermonuclear missiles, is going to destroy this place and put things back into balance, and put the kingdom in the hands of someone that's profitable, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay? So then finally, you know, we can enter into our rest, because this is not our rest. All right? So this ain't, you know, I ain't going to be super long. It's going to be a short video, but I'm about to hit the book of Job real quick. 30. And I'm going to start at the top. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I will have disdained to sit with the flocks, with the dogs of my flocks. Because these dudes, they do shit to animals. Okay? The women do shit to animals too. All right, and yeah, if you imagine it's something that they shouldn't be doing, yes, that's what they're doing. Okay, with the animals, and you have a lot of them that are doing this. You had this one dude, this one Edomite guy. This happened like 2 months ago. He was arrested because the neighbor across the street heard crazy noise, crazy weird type howling from the dog, from the neighbor's dog. So they call animal control, and the dude was sexually assaulting the dog. Edomite. Okay, so yeah, when Job was presenting this, you know, he really meant it. Like, these dudes are so base that you can't even have them with your animals. All right, it says, "Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished, for want and famine they were solitary, fleeting into the wilderness. In the former times, desolate and waste." These were the wild men. Okay, these were the guys that were living in the caves and in the Caucasus Mountains and in Petra, and you know, if you know anything about history, there was something called the let's see if we can just Google it. Let's see, European PAIN. Here it is, European wild man. All right. So images. Let's see if they just have. So this is you know, images. Oh, let me see if I can find, because they have some with them attacking the castle, and you see these are Moorish tapestries, right? And they have some where you have the wild man actually attacking the tapestries. No, that's not it. Elder Malcolm had these videos, but it looks something like this. You know, they were just hairy, brute beast. Okay, European wild man. You can look into it. You can start looking into these images. They're out there for you to find. You know, this is why these dudes are so bestial. You know, they got that song. They not like us. Well, they really not. Okay. Thought I saw something in here. Oh yeah, see. And this is another tapestry where you got Jake, the artwork, wild men and the Moors. So the tapestry shows these are the Moors fighting the wild men. Okay, so just an example, you know, how they were desolate in the woods, in the wilderness. Okay, because that's a place that they often return to, and they're going to return to that place again, even worse off this time. Until they get destroyed. And it says, "Who cut up mallows by the bushels and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men." You see that? Into the caves. "They cried after them as a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and the caves of the earth and in the rocks. Among the bushels they braved, and under the nettles they gathered. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth." You see that? So these were the people that were put into power. These people were put into authority. These people. You wonder why we live in an ass backwards, twisted ass society. Well, hey, there it is. We have base men running things, lower than the lowest men running stuff. Okay? This is why they use the dirtiest of fuels and technologies. This is why they're trying their best to dominate people in the manner in which they are. Because the best way to have people, if you want to have subjects, is to have your subjects love you, okay, not fear you, because or hate you, because you know the only one we need to fear is Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, okay, because you know, hey, fear not him who can kill the body, but fear him that can kill the body and soul in hell. So you know, we fear the Lord, the Creator, but men, you know. We shouldn't fear men. You see? You know? But this devil, he creates an environment of fear through the power of the sword. You see? So when he creates that fear through the power of the sword, you know, over a period of time, that causes dissension and rebellion, because people get tired of that shit. They get to a point where they get tired of you taking their stuff. and robbing them and killing them. So this is why he's trying to create a digital system that will lock everybody in indefinitely. There's no way out of it. Okay, I will have power forever, and that's what the whole digital system is about. Is he wants perpetual slaves. He wants everybody in the whole entire world to be under him, okay, forever, and there's no way out. All right, that's what the chip is all about. All right, and then you also saying to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you ain't none of his. All right, so you see, they were children of fools, they were base men, they were viler than the earth. And I'm gonna hit verse 9, and it says, and now am I their song, yea, I am their byword, and we are under their foot. Okay, we are under their authority right now. Okay, this is why the Lord even allowed this fool to be in power, was for our punishment. But as the scriptures say, he forwarded the affliction. Why? Because he's a base man. Okay, he always has to go. He's already to the left, but he has to go even further to the left. You see what I'm saying? Beyond, to go to the goddamn extreme, and that's Esau, Edom. And look at the state of the world. Look at his rulership. Everything is unraveling. Okay, everything is unraveling, and the world is turning against him. You know, the Lord has made his man small. Obadiah 1, I believe 1 and 4. You know, or I think 1 and 2. They are greatly despised. Okay, so you see now, you know, for those of you who don't know, why someone like him, like these people, these PDFs, you know, these hoarders of money, okay, these destroyers of the earth, all right, the topplers of societies, you know, the bringers of war and death and famine, drugs, disease. You see why these people are in power now, okay? They're in power for the purpose of bringing forth prophecy, all right? And ultimately, it's going to end for their destruction. All right, so with that, I pray this was an edifying lesson, giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem Rakal Kadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostle, great millstones. To the next time, I keep my say shalom.